Good morning and welcome back to our Ask the Agronomist Facebook Live. We are here today going to be talking about a corn topic, as you can see.
Yeah, got some good examples.
Yes, for sure. All right, so specifically we're going to be talking about corn nitrogen shortage.
Yeah, unfortunately we're looking at nitrogen shortage a lot earlier in the season than normal. So, you know, we're early August and we've had, not only did the northern part of Iowa, southern Minnesota, and several of the areas we cover had a lot of rains in the spring, but we've also had some heavy rains in the summer. And we just had another one that brought a couple inches to parts of, you know, the mid kind of area of our territory. So we're seeing a lot of this, and I noticed a couple weeks ago, even when corn was pollinating, just starting to pollinate and throw out silks, that we were starting to see firing up much higher than you want to see on a corn plant. So these are the symptoms. V-shaped yellowing on the corn leaf, and you can see it. This one's probably the best, but it starts at the tip and works its way back. So whenever you see that characteristic V-shape yellowing on a corn leaf, you know that that's a nitrogen issue.
Okay.
Typically you see that as we get closer to senescence, you see it start to come up the plant, but we're just past silking at this point, and this is already pretty much to the ear leaf. You can see it, you know, just starting on the ear leaf, which is not a good thing. So, you know, having it this early in the season is gonna run us into some issues, because really the corn plant still needs to take up about 30 to 40% of its total nitrogen at this point in the season.
Okay.
You know, it's storing a lot. There's a lot of nitrogen in the plant, but it still has to take up 30 to 40% in its roots.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit more about the loss from the rain. So as far as timing, quantity, when can this start to be a worry?
So, you know, that's a loaded question, because it can depend on a lot of factors. You know, how you put your nitrogen on, you know, whether it's all up front or in season or something like that can play a huge role, or whether you put nitrogen stabilizers or something like that in it can help it stick around longer. But just the fact that we've got inches and inches of rain, you know, once we had the nitrogen down, it converts, you know, in a few weeks, depending on what you put down with it. It can quickly push it out of the root zone. And the other issue we've had is compaction, probably in a lot of cases in fields. And the roots maybe not going quite as deep with all the moisture we've had. So they're not reaching all that nitrogen, and things that are further down in the soil profile is another problem.
Okay, so what about repercussions of this? How is this going to affect the corn plant as it goes about?
So obviously, you know, it's affecting the leaf area. That's a big issue in the photosynthesis the plant's going to be doing. But we've husked back some ears here too to kind of show you, and this may seem a little drastic, but actually these are the same hybrid, just a couple rows apart. That are showing a severe nitrogen deficiency, nitrogen issues, and some root issues as well. You can see some difference in even maturity here. But the biggest thing on this ear that kind of shows up compared to that ear, this ear is filled out really well. And as we continue to go along, this one's showing several ears in the middle here, and I've seen guys posting pictures of this on Twitter and so forth. You'll see kernels, just random kernels in here that are small and shrunken. And what's happening is they're aborting just throughout the cob. So you can have poor kernel set. You may have a tip back later as this continues to get severe. The tips may tip back and tip die back. So you'll see issues there as this continues to mature. And then the other big problem that we're going to see later on is weakening of the stalks. You know, so this shank here that holds the cob up, as well as the stalk itself, is going to start to cannibalize because of this shortage. They're going to try and get all that nitrogen up to the ear to give that grain protein. So it's going to cannibalize the stalk and the ear shanks, and that's going to cause weak stalks, unfortunately, and potentially weak shanks, and cause ear droppage. So things like that are really important. The other thing, those things you should be keeping in mind as we continue on through the season. You know, the other thing is just susceptibility to disease. You know, a weaker plant is always going to have more susceptibility to disease. And I didn't plan this or anything, but you can actually see quite a bit higher aphid counts on this plant. They're grouping on the stalk and the leaf as well. You just see little groups of them more so than you do on the healthy plant. And that's not, you know, aphids will attack lots of, you know, plants, different health of the plant, but diseases and things like that, a plant that's not as healthy can't ward off, doesn't have the defense system that a healthier plant will.
Right.
And you can just see the difference in not only leaves but stalk size as well between these two plants. So nitrogen, unfortunately, it's it's like the second most important thing when it comes to corn, and it's taken up mobily, so with the water, but when the water leaches it all out below the root zone and we have these problems with uptake, then we start seeing these kind of symptoms. And unfortunately, it's earlier than what we'd hope to see.
Right. So what about planning for maybe even this year, and if not this year, next year?
Yeah, so as far as planning for this year, unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do.
Yeah.
The best thing is, if you're using something like we offer Climate Field View, which has some opportunities to look at crop health imagery, so satellite imageries.
Yeah.
A lot of these plants that I'm seeing in our fields are showing up in the middle. So you may not see them from just driving by at 55 miles an hour.
Right.
So if you watch those crop health images, a lot of times you'll see them showing up. It may be the wet spots, but it may also be much more than that. So I would say going out and looking at your fields, maybe using those crop health images if you're on a precision ag platform like Climate. The other thing is, number one, it's too late to put nitrogen on at this point.
Right.
I know I've had a couple guys ask that. When they're showing stress up here at the ear leaf, it's kind of like wagging the white flag.
Yeah.
It's too late. The damage is done. So anything you put down now, it may take some of that up, but it's not going to be a good, you can't rescue it. You can't rescue it with foliar applications. You can't give it enough to make up for this damage that's already caused. So the thing I would say is, preparing for next year, maybe doing an in-season application of nitrogen. Some guys do late season, but spreading that out or using nitrification inhibitors are important, just given the variability in weather we have. So, the other thing is with a precision ag platform that you can take an advantage of is tools like the Nitrogen Advisor on Climate. Using those to help plan and prepare for, are you going to have a nitrogen shortage part of the way through the season. So all those things can really kind of fine-tune your nitrogen program are really important to make sure you don't have these kind of issues.
Okay, sounds good. Well, speaking of the devil, I guess we got a little rain on our
perfect timing
broadcast today, but yep, rain and sunshine, what a combination. Well, thank you for joining us today. Anything else you'd like to add?
Nope.
All right.
I think that covers it.
Okay, sounds good. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Have a good day.